Hello, this is the Durham Town Council meeting of January 12th, 2026. Welcome all, and we'll have a call to order, starting with Councilor Grant.
Heather Grant.
Robin Vogt.
Todd Selig.
Joe Friedman.
Sally Nadell.
Wayne Burton.
Curtis Frazier.
Hardin Welsh. Sorry.
And there's no one on Zoom as part of the council. The agenda.
We'd like to suggest a change in the agenda in order to address Resolution 2026-02 and put it into new business so that the annual performance evaluation process would be A, and new business B would be Resolution 2026-02 that's on the table in front of you.
Is there a second
So
to that?
discussion.
I'll second.
Okay. By a show of hands, is that okay as a move on the agenda? So approved, so we'll add a 14B and call existing 14A. We now have a call for the, I'll make a motion that the town council hereby approves the minutes for December 8th, 2025. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? We'll take a roll call vote on that then. Councilor Grant, please.
I'm just trying to remember. I read both of the minutes, but I was absent for one of those meetings. I can't remember which date it was. I apologize.
It's okay.
I think the earlier one?
Was it so it would have been this one. So I would abstain.
You will abstain.
Yes.
So I
It
abstain.
was the December 8th meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I abstain.
So then Robin Vogt, aye.
Joe Friedman, aye.
Sally Nadell, aye.
Wayne Burton, aye.
Curtis Frazier, aye.
Hardin Welsh, aye.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, we did skip ahead, but we'll just go ahead and finish the approval of minutes if it's okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the December 15th, 2025 minutes.
I'll
As
second that.
presented, amended.
Yeah.
There's
I'll
a
second that.
Any conversation on that? Councilor Grant?
Heather Grant, aye.
Robin Vogt, aye.
Joe Friedman, aye.
Sally Nadell, aye.
Wayne Burton, aye.
Thank
Curtis
you.
Frazier, aye.
Hardin Welsh, aye.
Thank you. Sorry, went out of order with number 5, but we'll get, and now number 5 on the agenda, which is a consideration of the adoption of the Resolution 2026-01, recognizing the outstanding work of the Durham Housing Task Force.
Yes, and I move that we adopt Resolution 2026-01, recognizing the outstanding work of the Durham Housing Task Force.
Seconded.
And is someone here to make some further comments? Sally?
can always pull a comment up. So we did the Housing Task Force after many years of working. We did manage to come up with a few things. We had many successes. I think we have two things still hanging, and then we'll have all that complete. But we did receive a Municipal Leadership Award from the Workforce Housing Coalition of the Greater Seacoast for our work for our overlay district and the work that we've accomplished. It's quite an honor, I think, to get this, especially for Durham to get an award for its work in promoting housing for just anybody is quite an endeavor, I think, and I think the town should be proud of it. So I don't know what you guys, I think this would be nice to hang somewhere. Probably not in my living room, but out here in the town's living room somewhere would be great.
I'm sure there's a place it could be hung.
You could put it there because it is something it's hard for communities have a hard time changing zoning. Zoning is big and it's hard to change and it moves very slowly, if at all. And a lot of communities have been very much challenged with that as we continue to be challenged with providing safe and quality spaces for our people to live in. And I think it's quite an accomplishment for Durham to have been able to to do this and to get the support of the community and to make the changes that we needed to do that. So congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
To you.
Sounds
And the
great.
Durham, the residents and members of that committee, besides yourself, Sally
Yep.
Tobias, or Al Howland, who's here, appreciate it. Michael Mulhern, is Mr. Mulhern here? Eileen Murphy, Judith Spang, Nick Taylor, Mimi Kell, Maeve Nolan, Emily Ham, Heather Grant, and Paul Rasmussen, the planning board chair. And past members included Tom Elliott and Kathy Frierson. So really appreciate all the help, Durham residents, moving this through. I believe you had originally presented 4 major pieces of legislation. One or two of them have been passed.
Out of the downtown ones is one left, and then we have our overall one that will affect other areas in the town other than just the commercial areas that is still to be presented to the planning board. It's just finding time on the planning board
Right.
lately, but it's getting there. But it's out there for anybody to look at. I think it's a very doable situation for them, for the zoning.
Sure, it was the overlay zone was passed and the 79E provisions
Yep,
to help
79E.
Renovation, remodeling of
Yep.
existing properties.
So it's going positive stuff, guys.
Are there any other comments before we vote?
I just would say that the housing work isn't done in Durham. Just because we got no more doesn't mean we're all done building houses. And there are still more and more people that are being born every day.
Thank you.
The first step, though, is in changing the law so it can be done. And I think now, if you can encourage more development in the downtown, and you can encourage more developers to come and create some of the housing we are making legal, that would be a great thing to do.
Thank you all for your service to do that. We'll vote. Counselor Grant.
Heather Grant, aye.
Robin vote aye.
Joe Friedman, aye.
Cy Nadell, aye.
Wayne Burton, aye.
First Register, aye.
Hardin Welsh, aye.
Thank you again, and thank you to all the
Thank you.
committee for the work
Thank
that
you.
you did.
Give this to you.
Oh,
Hang it way down, huh?
well,
Maybe give it to Michael. Give it to Michael Barrett, and Michael will bring it up, and we'll find a place for it.
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Yes, is Carolyn Bishop here by any chance, or a UNH representative? All right, typically we have.
I think they're still on break.
Yeah, they are. You can kind of tell in town, it seems. And public comments, please state your name and address before speaking. And 5 minutes is the limit of your comments.
Good evening, counselors, and thank you all for your service. I am Lauren Selig, and I live here in Durham, obviously, and do you need my street address? No.
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay, 3 Noble K. Peterson Drive. Sorry, it's been a while since I've stood before you in this space. And my other job, I sit on the other side of the table. So I'm here for 2 reasons tonight. One, I just wanted to make sure, in case anyone missed it in the Durham Friday updates and in the postings that have gone out, the Durham Democrats are having a meeting tomorrow night at the library. I can't remember what time off the top of my head. I think it's 6:30, where we're going to have a legislative update, and our state senator Rebecca Perkins Cuoco will be joining us, and all of the representatives that serve Durham, Lee and Madbury, have been invited to each give a brief update about what we're launching for the new for 2026 agenda. We did begin our hearings today. The committee I serve, Education Policy, had 12 bills today. We have 12 more we're hearing Wednesday. We have 76 bills total for my committee from just the House side of things, and I believe 40 or 50 of those are early bills that have to be voted on before March, just to give you a sense of workload. So if you don't get a response from me, it's not that I didn't hear from you, it's just I'm underwater trying to catch up on bills. Secondly, taking off my legislative hat, or maybe putting it on in a different way, I just wanted to speak in favor of the resolution that Representative Councilor Burton will be bringing to you later this evening. I think it's speaking against a bill that's going to be heard Wednesday morning that encourages college students to have guns on campus, or welcomes that. Speaking as a parent of 2 college students, including one who spent one of her first nights at college in a 4-hour lockdown where there was reports of someone, it turned out to be a swatting incident, but someone happened to be walking across a bridge with a long black umbrella that from the 14th floor looked very much like a long gun. And also as the parent, friends of parents of kids who were at Brown University during the most recent university shooting, I am deeply opposed to the legislation that's coming before the House, but I very much support Councilor Burton's resolution later this evening, and I encourage you to adopt it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, lords and ladies of the illustrious Town Council, and good evening, Your Royal Majesty, Your Highness, the King and Town Administrator. Congratulations on raising taxes yet again.
Would you please state your name?
Bruce
Address?
Fenton, Lord Bruce Fenton this evening from Durham Point. Congratulations on raising taxes yet again. You know, the overwhelming majority of the voters is against the tax increase. They expressed this clearly, but you did what any good monarchy should do. You ignored them all. So bravo. You're not accountable to them. Public comment is simply theatre and the illusion of democracy, but at the end of the day, you're not accountable and you can simply ignore them. You, Your Royal Highness, you have never been elected, you were never voted into power, and Your Grace, you can never be voted out of power. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it? You are not accountable to them, their voice means nothing. So bravo. But I must say I was rather a little bit disturbed and distraught at the last meeting because you let all manner of riffraff in here. You had voters and labourers and workers and other sorts of commoners traipsing into this fine halls as if they owned the place. And it must have been terribly painful for you to be in the presence of these commoners. And I'm not sure how you could endure such a thing. You had to listen to these sob stories of these people talking about their taxes. Oh, boo-hoo, my taxes are up $40,000. Or boo-hoo, 50% increase, I have children. And do you remember the one gentleman? Oh, boo-hoo, I have lived here 70 years and you are forcing me from my home. Well, cry us a river. I don't know how we can make it any more clear to the commoners. This is a town for wealthy aristocrats. If you are struggling with your taxes and trying to make ends meet, the guidance from we, the elite, is clear. If you can't pay your taxes, don't be poor. When you move to this town, you sign an invisible imaginary social contract, which clearly states that you will pay far more taxes because we spend far more money here. That's what we do here. We spend other people's money. And if you don't like it, you're not welcome here. If you're struggling, then run along to one of the many, many other towns where you would pay far less in taxes. Newmarket, for example, or Rye. But have you ever been there? Have you ever been to Rye? It's a slum. It's barely suitable for the help. It shows what happens if the lords and ladies don't spend enough money. In Rye, the members of the town council have to sit on wooden benches. Can you imagine such a thing? Lords and ladies of the court sitting on wooden benches is preposterous. If anything, you should spend far more money. You currently spend about $60,000 a day of the workers' labour, and these are rookie numbers. You ought to be spending $100,000 or $200,000 a day. This building is one of the most expensive buildings on a per square foot construction cost in the state, but it's far too modest. You should increase it to 30 stories high, and you should outfit it with Versace and Armani and Patek Philippe and other premium brands, so that His Majesty our Lord the King can rule over his subjects in style. You really must send a message to these commoners. You should also increase the Zoning and Planning Board department by 50 or 100 people, so that the commoners can get a clear message that they can't go and simply build something on their own land as if they own the place. You've got to send a message to these commoners. You've done a great job in ignoring them, but you've really got to send a message. The role of the commoners is to be tax milk cows. Their job is to work and toil and labour in their dreary jobs and give their money to you. And your role is to spend their money and spend it with wild abandon on behalf of His Majesty the King. That is the natural order of things, and that is as it should be in any good monarchy. So please continue doing exactly what you are doing, continue to ignore these filthy commoners, and continue to spend their money with wild abandon. With that, lords and ladies and your majesty the king, I take my leave. Good evening. Thank you very much.
That's going to be a tough act to follow, and I have a degree in theater. Daniel Day, 89 Baghdad Road. Good evening, council. First topic of two that I would like to discuss with you this evening is the increase in building permit fees by more than 50%, as if property tax increases aren't enough of a burden already. I understand that the permit fees have not been updated since 2007, but the new fee structure represents a much steeper increase than inflation alone would justify. For example, a $10,000 residential project that would previously cost $50 would now cost $120 under the new schedule. Even very small projects now pay more because the flat application fee outweighs any reduction from removing the old minimums. I understand that the town council that the town in general reviewed fees in surrounding municipalities, but what works in other towns may not necessarily work in Durham. Other towns have different tax bases, as well as developmental pressures and long-term goals. My philosophy is that permitting fees should cover the administrative cost of reviewing applications and nothing more. They should not be used as a revenue source. As someone in the process of opening a business, I have seen firsthand how permitting fees can be a real barrier, not only for operating a business, but also for growth and expansion. We often ask why we're not seeing growth in our tax base, but the reality is that business endeavors already require a substantial upfront investment with significant risk. Adding higher fees at the very beginning only makes that harder. These high fees can disproportionately affect women, minorities, people with disabilities, and others who are already facing systemic or financial burdens, whether they are starting a business, trying to build a home, or make necessary modifications for accessibility. If Durham wants to be a town that truly supports diversity, equity, and inclusion, we need to ensure that permit fees are not an additional obstacle. Secondly, I'd like to comment on the town's use of the new 24/7 permit parking for the majority of the spaces in Denison Road. Would encourage you to reevaluate the parking situation in this town, and as well as the current policies there. I do not see any transparency around this decision to implement permit parking, nor opportunities for public comment before the system was implemented and permits were sold. That troubles me. At a basic level, are we really acting in the best interest of our community if residents are no longer allowed to park in spaces that were funded by their own tax dollars? Even if the town felt there was a need to sell parking permits for guaranteed parking, the location choice was extremely poor. The middle school parking lot does not have sufficient parking for the recital hall where the majority of district concerts and events now take place, and Denison Road has traditionally served as overflow parking for that venue. Well, Captain Lavoie's video pointed out alternative parking locations such as the library. Many of these areas are quite far from the school. That becomes especially challenging in the winter, and it makes it difficult for grandparents and others with mobility issues to attend our concerts. Particularly, the library also has its own events that require parking. In many towns and cities, free parking is intentionally located around the perimeter of downtown areas, making them accessible and welcoming. So with the continued expansion of parking restrictions here in Durham, I think we really need to ask ourselves the important question: are we still a welcoming community? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Jeff Berlin, 3 Kyle Drive. I have not read the resolution for the campus carry bill that you guys have written up, but I can only imagine I'd be against it. And the only thing that I'd like to say is that I don't think that, I'd like to hope that at least somebody on this board would not vote for whatever the resolution says. But I'd like to just remind everybody here that just like the right to life doesn't end at the womb, the right to defend yourself doesn't end at the doors to the college institution. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to make any other public comments? Okay. We now have a unanimous consent agenda. And I'll go ahead and, does anybody want to pull either of the items? Having read them? I'll go ahead then and make a motion that the Durham Town Council hereby, upon recommendation of the town assessor and administrator, approve fiscal year 2026 property tax abatements at the local level for outstanding appeals before the Board of Tax and Land Appeals for tax years 2023 and 2024 totaling $511,225.47. And that the town council does hereby adopt resolution 2025-21 approving a new site lease agreement with T-Mobile Northeast LLC for 100 Durham Point Road, and authorizes the administrator to make any final non-substantive language changes to the agreement and sign all relevant documents to bring the matter to fruition.
I second the motion.
Second. So we'll have a vote since it's unanimous consent. Counselor Grant?
Heather Grant, aye.
Robin vote aye.
Joe Friedman, aye.
Signed Adele, aye.
Wayne Burton, aye.
Curtis Ranger, aye.
Cardin Welsh, aye.
Thank you.
I had one comment, Chairman, if I could.
Okay.
Is Darcy Freer here? Hey, could I ask you to come? I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. I apologize. We have 2025 abatement deadlines coming up. What is the deadline for residents? Do you have that on the top of your head? That'd be awesome if you could. I just want you to say it. That's all I care about.
March 1st.
So March 1st is when they need to get those abatements in so that they can contest whatever their assessment is.
Correct.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much for putting this together, Darcy.
No problem.
Okay. And committee appointments. Counselor Vogt.
Sure. I'd like to make a motion that the Durham Town Council, upon recommendation of the Energy Committee Chair, appoint Christopher Smith of 24 Madbury Road, Apartment 1B, to a regular membership position on the Energy Committee with a term expiration of April 2027.
I'll second that. Is Mr. Smith here? Yes, would you like to
Yeah,
introduce
absolutely.
yourself?
Good evening. Christopher Smith. I live at 24 Madbury Road here. I don't know what to say. Who's got questions? Maybe I can go there.
Why do you want to join the Energy Committee, man?
So, I mean, I've been interested in politics, since 17, 18 years old, but never really gotten too hands-on with things. I did graduate from UNH in 2019 with a degree in physics. So the Energy Committee is that's going to be like a relatable kind of. So that makes sense to me to do that.
Hey, I appreciate you volunteering your time
Yeah.
and your expertise.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Anybody else have questions?
Just want to make a quick comment. We loved having you at the Energy Committee, and it's nice to know that my advertisements that go out every once in a while at the end of the council meetings have led to some fruition here, to somebody joining the commission. So thank you so much for stepping up to the plate, and we can't wait to have you on the committee as well.
Yeah,
So-
I'm really excited. It seemed like I wasn't able to catch, remotely I zoomed in, or, I catch the live feed for the last one, but November I made it, and that was, it seems like a great committee, great group of guys. So I'm excited to, be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So we'll take a vote. Counselor Nadal?
Signed Adele, aye.
Wayne Burton, aye.
Curtis Register, aye.
Cardin Welsh, aye.
Heather Grant, aye.
Robin vote aye.
Joe Friedman, aye. Thank you for volunteering and for agreeing to serve. Counselor Grant, would you like to?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Emma Hollander, 7 Fairchild Drive, as recommended by the planning chair, Paul Rasmussen. An alternate membership position for the planning board, term ending for 2029.
I'll second that.
And is Emma here?
Yeah.
Hello, Emma. Would you like to,
Hi.
would you like to introduce yourself and
Sure.
say anything?
I'm Emma Hollander. I live at 7 Fairchild Drive. I've been a resident of Durham for a little over 3 years now, and just felt like I would really like to get involved in the town. Very supportive of putting down roots here in Durham. Really like this town, really love the community that I've seen so far and gotten to know so far, and would really like to just do something to support the continued community development of this town.
Awesome.
Thank you for agreeing. Anybody else like to make
Why
a
did you
comment?
come down from Portland?
Damn.
It got all nosy.
No, my husband lives here, and my stepdaughter is in the Oyster River School District, and I work remotely. And so when our relationship was time to move in together, I could move here rather than consider moving her out of the school district and moving them away.
Yeah, you dirty transplant.
Yeah, right.
Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
for volunteering
brutal.
your time.
It was a brutal crowd.
Brutal. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Counselor vote?
Robin vote, aye.
Heather Grant, aye.
Counselor Welsh?
Cardin Welsh, aye.
Curtis Register, aye.
Sign Adele, aye.
Joe Friedman, aye. And again, thank you again.
Thank you.
Dr. Shaps from the Oyster River School District, we now will hear a presentation. Appreciate your coming today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I have some handouts. So I think last year we, instead of doing a PowerPoint, I provided you with. And I'm just going to pass it this way.
Yeah.
So
Stay.
have a few more handouts around our capital projects.
There's some handouts going around.
Stay.
Thanks.
I'll leave it at that. I won't burden. Thanks, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. So good evening. Happy New Year to you all. It's certainly a pleasure to have the opportunity to just update the council on our budget process for the 2026-27 school year. I have a handout. I don't want to go page by page. I will say that I hope to be respectful of your time, but also give you enough information, respond to any questions you may have about our warrants. On Wednesday evening, I'll have an opportunity to present the budget to the community and to the Board of Education. The first point I'd like to make is we are and have moved forward or anticipate warrant article number 3, a bond, a capital bond, in the sum of $9,827,000. That is I would say, not to exceed cost for a elementary expansion and renovation project. This has been in the works. Last March, the community supported warrant 5, which was to advance roughly $560,000 for engineering and schematic design. And with that support, in the fall, we presented where we are in this project with a not to exceed limit of $9.8 million roughly. This will allow for 6 additional classrooms at Moheramet Elementary School. Really, the net change is 4 general classrooms. And it will also allow us to expand the Massway cafeteria, which is at capacity now, by adding another 20% to the occupancy, allowing us to have an additional 40 students in total, in going from 90 students to 140 approximately. That said, there was an effort through The initial, I would say, strategic effort by the board to conduct a building condition survey of all of our schools, minus the middle school, to really get a sense of all capital needs for the really next 10, 15 years. And at the same time, we conducted a program space audit of the elementary schools and the high school to really look at the adequacy around certain space areas in the schools. So this project really is a combination of renovating spaces that are not adequate for the delivery of programs and services, and then it's the expansion based on, right now, both of our schools are at full occupancy. We will end up, if the community supports the project, we'll have 20 general classrooms at Mohammed, going from right now 17 to 20. Right now at Mohammed, we have art in the commons areas. If we had to reassign a number of kindergarten students to Massway this year, because we would have had to move music from a classroom space at Mohammed to music on a cart, so to speak. So it really will allow for 2 schools with 20 general classroom spaces to plan for certainly the future, and also renovate all these spaces. There's a lot of information we have for the community on the website. We are hosting a series of tours of the spaces so people can see firsthand where, for example, Mohammed, we are providing OT services in the same room that we're providing English as a second language. So it's those types of situations where we're really pressed for space, and the services that we provide for students are certainly warranted and mandated. We want to make sure that we optimize those spaces overall. The handout that I have here, the information, just gives you what I would say is the estimated tax rate impact for the towns, and just some general information as to the why now. What I can and I've brought along is, and it's certainly posted on the website, is just a description of the project. And what we talked is what are the problems and the solutions that we hope to achieve through both these. And I have handouts for you if you'd like to see Reed School. So,
Dr. Shep?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I know they're notoriously difficult to do, but have you done like forecasts of number of students? And is it going up in the elementary grade?
So I have information for you here about enrollment, but let me talk about this, because we've been very clear really for the last year and a half. This project started with Dr. Morris in the spring of 2024, when I think there was about 17 to 20 Mohammed Zone students that were told they would most likely have to move to Massway. I think there's a combination of factors that are into play here. This is not necessarily an exponential growth in enrollment that is causing the problem. We've had changes in enrollment, and I would say right now, based on class size guidelines that the school board has had in place, that part of the pressure is when we hit those class size guidelines per grade level cohorts, and we look at the available classrooms, we are at full occupancy. At Massway right now, there are 20 classrooms, all 20 are utilized. At Mohammed, there are 17, and all 17 plus are being utilized. We anticipate, based on the forecasting, that will stay consistent for the next several years. In other words, looking at our long-term projections, we aren't going to see an increase, but we will. We are projected to maintain, I would say, the level of enrollment each year. Last year, we had our forecast for kindergarten came in. The actual numbers were significantly higher than projected. This year, we were supposed to be a drop, and they were about as projected. So it's hard to say, based on live births and all the models we use, where we will be. But I wanted to be clear that this is not a product of exponential growth in our enrollment. It's about consistent expectations and space limitations. That's really driving part of that conversation. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Any questions on the warrant article? I think built into this article, in terms of the 9.8 million, is a significant number of contingencies based on what we believe is the challenge of construction around tariffs and just material costs. But I think one of the things I will say is I was very interested with the board to look strategically over the next 10 years. We have a building committee where we really analyzed all the, I would say, capital needs of the high school and the two elementaries, and really come up with a strategy that was just not what I would say coming forward with a bond and then figuring out what the next issues may be. It's almost a roadmap around capital investment for our schools for the next 10 years. And part of that also is understanding through the operating budget, and I'll get to in a minute, how we assign expenditures for capital repair, and so the funding sources that we are looking at to really balance out our needs.
You know, you have the breakdown here of Durham, Lee, and Madbury. What do you expect that to be next year? Do you have final numbers on that?
I do have, these are estimates right now because we were waiting for the formulas and in terms of that, so I can come back to you then. I can certainly, when we speak to the operating budget, I can talk about the impact that the information is available as well. But we want it to be, I think from the beginning we have said, let's be obviously fully transparent. Year one, because it's just the interest payment, as you can see, will be different from years 2 through 10. We are looking for a 10-year, borrowing on this project, given that we're at 9.8 million. And so this is just an estimate on year one, which is the interest portion that would hit in that year. The project, what's important to point out is that if the voters approve the project in March, we plan to move forward in June. We plan to do the work over the summer, continue while school's in session without disturbing the learning environment, and then complete the project the following summer. So all the improvements, the renovations, expansion would be set for September of 2027. So this is a quick turnaround and project, and one of the reasons why we selected through the RFP process Ekman Construction is that they have a lot of experience in working in environments where education is happening while construction is happening. So we want to be very mindful of health and safety and the ability to get this project accomplished.
So would year one be 2026?
Year one of the borrowing would be 26, yes, 26, 27. First year.
Okay, so year two, we have a big tax issue in town. Year two would be hitting in 2027 or 2028?
I think it's 27, 28, but let me find out for sure on that one. Okay. Okay, so that's the bond. Any other questions about the bond? Yes, Wayne.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you as well.
Last time we were in court, and when a federal judge
Yes.
asked the Attorney General what they didn't understand about the Constitution, and we won. You're not applying for any capital help from the state.
We've pursued, the support through the building state reimbursement is limited, and we don't anticipate receiving building funds from the state.
You are absolutely correct.
We will pursue.
The big issue in Concord right now is to whether reduce the number of SAUs to 6 from the number that they have now. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have a lot of thoughts on consolidation.
It'd probably take too long tonight.
It would take probably too much of your time. I mean, I'll certainly reserve it for another time. I think there's a lot of, as we know at the state level, a lot of conversations about public education, and I think from my perspective, in terms of the role, I think looking realistically at the value of SAUs and local control of education is really a starting point, and it's a hallmark of New Hampshire. And I think the best advice I can give to elected officials is that any significant change to any structure should be studied over time and to be looked at carefully, because there are a lot of examples where significant change has resulted in detrimental outcomes. And I think something as significant as consolidation across a state really has to be looked at carefully with stakeholders and studied before even being considered.
Thank you. I'm very proud to represent Oyster River in the legislature. When I hear about some of the problems in the other districts like Claremont and so forth.
And I mean, I think, and part of my thing tonight is understanding our responsibility to the taxpayer and the product of what we provide to within our schools, and kind of the balance between, as taxpayers, to support increases in our budget. but being mindful of efficiencies and reductions to make it realistic. And so if I can go on and just cut through this, I've shared some just academic highlights just to give you some data on some of the, I would say, important statistics about early college, APs, ELOs. We use a lot of acronyms in education, so if you need clarity. But the good news is that they're all pointing in the right direction in terms of increase in performance, increase in student participation. We've seen a steady increase in students participating in regional CTE courses, which is fantastic, because in this current budget, we continue to add money. We want students to have opportunities to explore passions and interests as well. We're starting to see a rebound on our SATs of the last 2 years coming out of COVID, and that's quite positive. On page 6, I just have a summary of enrollment trends. As I mentioned, we've really maintained a steady actual to projected around K-4 enrollment. In other words, we have close to 700 students in K-4, and we anticipate to maintain that and maybe grow in the next few years. The most significant change is at the middle school level. We've seen, and we'll realize next year, a drop of about 17% in grades 5 through 8, 115 students over the last 5 years. With that, we've seen as larger cohorts have gone through the system, we see fluctuations in just grade level at the middle school, which it creates some challenges in terms of team structure and delivering education. And in the high school, with our partnership with Barrington, it's been quite stable in terms of about 800 students in grades 4, with about really about 100 and almost a little bit less than 178 tuition students that have been from Barrington. So that's provided that consistency. And on page 7, you just see our projections for next year, and this was discussed. We see a slight increase in both Massway and Mohammed. We see a slight decrease that's been projected and predicted at the middle school, and then stability at the high school overall. So there's a strong connection to how we plan our budgets and enrollment change or enrollment growth. On the next page, the one thing I just want to point out, and I talked about it last year, over the last 5 years, we've seen a steady drop in the number of Durham students, going from 920 students to 842. At the same time, we've seen an increase in the number of Lee students enrolled in the school district that's somewhat offset the change in Durham, and Madbury has been a slight change. I think we're down about 56 students from 2020 overall as a school system, so there is at least some stability. The difference is we have had the larger cohorts of 190 students, and now we're seeing 140, 130. So as they travel through, we really have to watch our enrollment as a system and understand where we're going. Just to summarize the budget itself, I think this budget that we're putting forward to the community provides for resources for state-mandated programs and services. The state, Wayne, you mentioned